Hey Zwifters, welcome back to No Breakaways, your source for all the Zwift racing tips and tricks. Super excited to be back after a really fun, really tough TTT on the Greatest London Flat. Here to preview the Petit Boucle, is that how you say it? I have no idea. Course. Should be really fun. It's going to be a tough one. It's an interesting race. There's one major feature on it that's really going to break everything up, but it comes like 30K in. So it should be a really fun race. Let's take a look at the course. Here it is, Petit Boucle, the entire course. A's and B's riding 47 kilometers with 281 meters of gain. C's and D's, 36 kilometers, 265 meters of gain. You start at the bottom of the screen down there where the orange arrow is, and you take off in a clockwise direction around the loop. It basically follows the RGV course that we did for the first TTT. Where it differs from that RGV course is instead of taking a right into the finish out of the twisties or the colon, as I've heard people say it, you take a left up the Petit reverse KOM. From there, you take a right and then you follow the RGV course around counterclockwise. Here's the Zwift Hub look at the course. The A's and B's end at the Marina Sprint, and the C's and D's end at the Pave Sprint. As you can see, there's one major feature right in the middle. That's that Petit reverse KOM. The Petit reverse KOM actually isn't labeled though because there's not an official banner at the top of that hill, so there isn't any intermediate points there either. The intermediate points are just like they've been in the past scratch races, 5 for first place and 1 point for 5th place. The intermediate points can be gotten at 4 places on this course: the Pave Sprint Reverse, the Aquaduc KOM Reverse, the Balloon Sprint Reverse, and the Pave Sprint. The Aqueduc KOM the second time, you actually can't get points according to the WTRL website. And like I just said, you can't get points at the top of that Petit reverse KOM either. All right, just like RGV, here we are coming up on the pens. You're going to take a left out of there and head out on this incredibly flat course until it's very much not flat. Okay, at this point in the course, we're coming up on the Pave Sprint Reverse. So let's take a look at what this looks like. Basically, when it transitions to the cobbles, you know you've started the sprint. It's not going to take long, maybe a 15 or 20 second sprint. As you can see, if you look at the mini map, you're going to come around this corner and take a right. It's kind of a blind finish, so you want to be going all out around that corner if you're trying to get those 5 intermediate points. All right, here we are coming up on that Aqueduct KOM Reverse. This is going to be a really interesting one and a place where I think some people could be dropped off the back. If you remember from RGV, this is only about a 10-meter climb, so it's pretty small climb, but people are going to be going really hard here. And if you aren't paying attention, if you aren't in good position going in, you could get dropped on this. I think positioning will be very important whether or not you're trying to take the intermediate sprint point. Obviously, if you are trying to take them, going to be a very hard climb. What I would suggest is sitting in that front group who's going for it, surfing wheels until you get to the top of this hill and taking off when you make this right-hand turn. You should be able to actually draft up most of that hill, and then if you hit the gas here, you should be able to go past some people and get those 5 points. Here we are coming up to the right-hand turn that'll take you onto the twisty section. So far, you've only done 47 meters of climbing in the first 17.2 kilometers, and this kind of marks the point where the course starts to undulate a little bit, and you'll be going through to the Balloon Sprint Reverse, and then up the Petit Reverse KOM. Taking a look at the course map again, you take that right-hander at that Y, right there, where that arrow is, to go for the rest of the RGV course and into the twisty side. Here we are coming up to the Balloon Sprint Reverse. This is the third place you can get those intermediate points, along with the Pave Sprint Reverse and the Aqueduct KOM Reverse. Pretty straightforward sprint. You just take this big long turn, you'll be able to see the finish. Just another great place to get your team another 5 points. All right, we're going into the twisties or the colon. You know, this is a place where you're really going to have to watch the wheel in front of you. Make sure that there aren't splits in the group. If you do want to create a split before that Petit reverse KOM, this would be a good place to try to make it, to ride some people off your wheel, to make a little bit of a breakaway. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hold it, you'd obviously have to do a very hard effort up that Petit reverse KOM. But this is one of the few places on the course where you could lose someone and someone could lose sight of you. Here we are coming up on the left-hand turn that's going to take you to the Petit reverse KOM. It's going to stay flat for a little bit. Then you're going to start your climb. Here's that left-hand turn. You're going to start heading up the climb almost directly after that turn. So get ready. Make sure you're in the right position. You want to be pretty far up in the pack so that you can see any moves going away and that nobody's going to really put in a huge surge and gap you. You can see up in front of us, the road starts to kick up. It's already starting a little bit right here. Most of this climb is actually draftable. Probably about the first half, you can draft it. Anything with a 4 or 5% gradient, you can still draft. There are some places where it's 8 or 9%. That's going to get a little sticky. You're going to have to watch out for. But I think staying in the draft on this climb is going to be really important so that you're pushing less watts out than some of the other people. Saving yourself 1 for those steeper portions, but 2 for the sprint that is inevitably coming at the end of this route. This will end up being a bunch sprint at the finish. Here we are coming to the top of Petit KOM. You're going to take a left here and you're going to start the downhill. Again, the banner that you'll see coming over the top is not meaningful. You don't get points there. The one thing I will say is that you need to be careful on the downhill. On a lot of the twisties and a lot of the switchbacks, it's actually going to kick you out of a super tuck when you go around it for whatever reason. Maybe it'll be a little bit different in a group, but just be very careful on that downhill what you're doing to make sure you don't get kicked out of the back of the group. It'd be a shame to do all this work on this KOM and get kicked out of the group on the downhill. So in order to get these Petit KOM reverse times from the start pen, what I had to do is take a look at the Strava segment for the expected times. For the Cat A men, I have them between 450 and 505. And the way I got these was looking at some of the best times that the really elite men racers did up this hill, because those have been pretty consistent with the top times I've seen in these ZRL races. For the Cat A women, I'm expecting between 555 and 610 for the really elite women in this group. I got this by looking at some of the very top ranked Zwifters when they race this, people like Mona Lee Keller, and this is about the time they come out in. And so with the way the women have been kind of crushing these courses in the community races at that A level, I expect them to be right there in that same time. Maybe a touch slower than those women, but really fast up that hill. For the Cat B, I had to take a little bit more of a guesswork approach based on 5-minute power and what I thought that would do to the times. So I'm thinking the Cat B men are going to come up about 630 to 650 at 5.1 watts per kilo. Same with the Cat C riders, probably 730 to 8 minutes at 3.8 watts per kilogram. Cat D, 845 to 930, 3.1 for watts per kilogram. For Cats B through D, it was really hard to kind of figure out what these times would be. So these are guesses just kind of based on 5-minute power for some of the best riders in these categories. All right, here is the Aquaduc KOM, and I'm only bringing this up to note that on the WTRL site, it says there are no intermediate points going up the Aqueduc KOM this way. So certainly if you want to try to drop people up this hill, you can. Again, I don't think that's necessarily the wisest decision. I don't think you're going to drop anyone. You'll probably just burn a couple matches. But you're not going to get any points going through that intermediate banner. Here we are coming up on the Pave Sprint. This is intermediate points for the A and B riders, but this is the finish for the C and D riders. So if you're in the C and D, class, you want to make sure that you know this place really well. It is a blind finish. If you're going for the intermediate points and you're an A and B rider, again, it's going to be a tough one. You know, the finish is right around there in that left-hand corner. You can see the archway in the mini-map, but you can't see it on the screen. You're going to have to be sprinting all out 100% when you can't see that arch. So getting the timing down of this is something that's really important and you may want to work on. Here we are coming to the finish for the A and B riders. It's a long straight drag. You take this right and the finish is right there. Again, another blind finish, just like the C and D. Basically from the Pave Sprint, really that Aquaduc KOM, all the way into the finish, it's just incredibly flat. So whoever the group you come off with is the group you're going to be sprinting against. Make sure you're all out by that corner. This is a place where you might be able to catch some people off guard if they think you're sprinting a little bit too early. So my total expected times for the Petit Boucle route, again, I haven't found any really high quality races that went this entire 47 kilometers. So I had to look at one race I could find that was 45 kilometers and kind of extrapolate from there on what I thought the very top tier people would do. For Cat A, men, probably between 58 and 60 minutes at 4.4 watts per kilogram, and Cat A women, 61 to 63 minutes at 4.1. Cat B riders, 62 to 65. So for the Cat C riders, on that 36 kilometer course, I'm expecting probably between 55 and 60 minutes, and Cat D 65 to 70. Again, I apologize if I'm off, especially with the Cat B to Cat D riders. It's just, there really isn't any data for how you guys are going to ride this. And really, there's a pretty wide range for all these times on what it could end up being. Let's go ahead, kick it over to Eric for the bike choices this week.
Hey Zwifters, this is Eric with Zwift Insider, looking at recommendations for your bike for France's Petit Boucle route. This is a tricky one. It's one of those tricky routes to pick a bike for because the majority of the route is pan flat, but we do have that crucial climb up the backside of the Petit KOM, and we know that the climbs are where races split apart, where the crucial selections are made. So do you choose your bike based on what the majority of the route is, which is flat, or do you choose it based on the most important section of the route, which is that climb, about 2.7 kilometers, I think about 3.9% average gradient. Not super steep, not super long, but super important for the race. My recommendation is to choose your bike based on the most important part of the race. So with that said, here are my recommendations. I would say if you're a climber, which I am not, if you're a climber who doesn't struggle too much to do well on the climbs, but you might struggle to hang with a really fast pack on the flats, I would absolutely go with the Tron bike, because the Tron bike is going to be really fast on the flats and will perform quite well on the climbs, just slightly slower maybe than a good climbing setup. Do that if you're a climber. If you're like me and you're not a climber, I would go down the opposite way. Probably go with the Tarmac Pro even, which is the best climbing frame. Pair it with the NV 7.8s, which you can only get if you're level 39 or above, but they're great, a good mix of an aero and climbing wheel. NV 7.8s, even the DT Swiss Arc 62s, which you can get way down to the lower level, those are good climbing wheels as well. So that's if you're down more on the non-climber side like me. If you want to go somewhere in the middle, go with that Canyon Air Road. We all love the new Canyon Air Road. Pair it with the DT Swiss wheels or the NV 7.8s. It's all along continuum at this point, and you just need to pick what you're comfortable with in terms of a mix between the climbing performance and a flat performance. So you got to look at where you're going to struggle, where you're going to do your best, and pick a bike based on that. All right, that's my advice for the day. Good luck, everybody. I'll see you out there.
Hey Zwifters, thanks for tuning in for the course preview of Petit Boucle. I hope you all have enjoyed the content we've been putting out. We got more live coaching coming up with Katie and Monali next week. We also have some really cool new features coming out, so make sure you're tuning in. Click like and subscribe below so you get updates on that new content. I would love to hear from you in the comments below on what you think I can do better, what kind of features you would like to see next on No Breakaways. See you next time.